Okay, let's get the show on the road. See if I can get this set up right. Okay, so I just want to say thanks a lot to everyone for coming out. Thank you for being here tonight for the Container Park Open House event. It's been a long time coming, so I know we had a presentation the city did here probably last year, and it's a culmination of a lot of work, a lot of effort by a lot of people. First, I want to recognize our city staff. We have present here at the event. Our city engineer, Christian Hubert, is here. He's lent a hand. Mike Willot is not present tonight. He's traveling. He's in Alaska. But you know, our building inspector's been key on this. It's been a labor of love internally. And I also want to recognize our city council. We have several city council members present. We have Matt Aaron, our council vice president. We have Dale Stuber. We have Sue Rowe, also present. I don't see any others at this point. Just also, I want to thank all of you for being here. Again, yeah, it's been a labor of love. So tonight's agenda, we'll do an introduction, we'll talk about the project, talk about the primary goals of the container park, we'll talk about park details, and we'll provide project updates, and then we're also going to provide vendor introductions. Then we'll continue with our social time. So first off, I want to start, thank you for your continued patience. I mean, that's honestly, we've received a lot of calls. When we're at events, we talk to people and they're like, when is the container park going to open? Is it going to take place? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's been, again, a labor of love. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, and we're looking at a late summer kickoff at this point. I'm really very hesitant to give a set date, but I'll lay out later on where we are. So introduction. This project was born out of a successful neighborhood investment fund submission the city put in back about 2 years ago now. We were awarded in March of 2022. We received $1.37 million for this project, and really with the impetus of creating an active public space in our formal downtown, and also to eliminate the barriers for entry for businesses to come in. That's frequently an issue for a lot of businesses to catch through. Is to get into a building, get into a space at a decent price. So this is born out of that idea, and we're committed to it. So the city is currently working with Containers Up, and we've been working with them for the last couple of years to manufacture these containers. I'd say at this point we're about 50% through on manufacturing of the containers. At this point, let's see here, the boutique is finished, the tap room's finished, a portion of our front-facing stackable containers are finished. We're working on the restaurants right now. So project values are 3 pillars for the project. We're helping small businesses. This is really the main primary function of this project. We applied for this the Neighborhood Investment Fund grant with the sole purpose of really getting rid of the barriers and knocking down the barriers for small business to enter the market and give them a springboard and moving forward. And this grant was created through COVID and investment fund money from the federal government passed through the state. The state created this grant, and we came up with it pretty quick and submitted it. The largest impediment for businesses to take their first steps is finding the space to do business. That's what we recognize, and that's why we're figuring the structure. We intend to rent space within the container park to enter interested parties at or below market rate. We hope to provide these at a price where we're not going to break it. And we're going to work with them, we're going to help them see themselves into hopefully a full-time space in a brick and mortar. And so we're going to be defining these with simple leases, and so we know that the facilities will be affordable. So the second pillar is revitalizing and strengthening our downtown. We have some really strong businesses in our downtown right now. We have Rumps, Golden Spike, a Nostalgic Bean. We have Kenny Dental, Clock Shop, awesome egg rolls, a place which I love to eat at, by the way. And we have, the only issue is with our downtown is there's not a lot of available buildings for those businesses to grow there. So this is kind of an easy plug and play for us to get more businesses in the space, more foot travel downtown, and more promotion for the businesses. If the park succeeds, which I really hesitated in putting if the park succeeds, because it is going, when the park succeeds, we're going to have more opportunities to expand in the future. So we're actively planning for that right now. You may notice if you're driving through our downtown, we purchased a lot and we raised the property. And we put in for a federal earmark for that site for another multi-use public building for that site. We'll see if we're awarded in this next budget cycle, but we did submit that to our congressional delegation. Our third pillar is the creation of a unique public space. And this is one thing that we've been very good at doing here in Altoona. And look at where we're at right now. We look at the potential of creating a unique public space in our downtown. We'll have a stage down there for music acts. We'll try to program it. And then, in addition, we're going to have one micro retail. We're going to have 3 restaurants and a tap room, and then a stage at the end. And I'll show you here with our diagrams how that's going to round out. So it'll be an active public space. One thing we're very interested in is exploring changes to our state law regarding open space and, let's see here, I'm trying to think, what was I calling those beforehand in Michigan? Yeah, kind of like an overlay district, or I'll think of it in a second. Sorry about that. But an area we can create a boundary in our downtown where we're going, where we allow folks to have I wouldn't say open-end talks, but more of a festive atmosphere in our downtown. We would have to creatively look at that. It's legal in a lot of other states. Social districts, there we go. But yeah, in the state of Michigan, we have those. The community I formerly worked at last year, we had a very successful social district in our downtown. The town I'm from, Bay City, Michigan, they festivalize in downtown. The council's able to do an ordinance designating multiple areas of the community. You would obviously have a couple areas probably in Altoona where you could do that. It would lend a hand with businesses. You could have festivalize certain areas. So yeah, creation of a unique public space. This is what it's all about. This is what we're excited about with this too. So those are the 3 pillars. So park layout. I'm going to go through the diagram a bit. So you have the front stacking containers up front. This is Division Street, hypothetically. It's very interesting. We had a resident stop into City Hall recently, and they said, it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of trees here. I'm like, it's just a diagram. But we're going to create some good diagrams here in the future with overlays on the existing site to show what it will look like in its present location. We do think that's important, and we will provide that. So stackable containers, this will be an observation area. It'll be like a place where people can eat and spend time. Bathrooms down here, storage. And then obviously all of your micro retail, your restaurants, and your tap room, and then the stage off the back. So it's really interesting on Division Street. We're doing a redesign on Division Street, and so extended sidewalks. We will have vegetation improvements down there, lighting improvements. It'll be safer for people to safer and more festive atmosphere. It's kind of some different perspectives, different layouts. It really hasn't changed very much from the initial ones we've released. So, give you an idea. It's going to be a very, very intimate setting. It's going to be a small setting, as you can imagine. But we're very confident it's going to work. So yeah, at night. So overall project update. We're working collaboratively with the vendors, providing project updates as we have them. We're trying our best to keep on top of letting our vendors know as we're getting updates and keeping them in the loop, keeping them engaged. 4 of our vendors are here tonight. I know that one of our vendors, the Ironwear Saloon, the tap room, they're in the Philippines. They're on a mission trip, so they weren't able to join us tonight. But it's good to have all of our vendors here present. We're going to do an introduction shortly for all of them. Again, manufacturing of the containers is about halfway complete at this point, which is a good benchmark for us. And the city recently awarded a bid for the redesign of Division Street for a more pedestrian-friendly streetscape, and be safer, well-lit, and added vegetation, as I just mentioned. We're working actively with our engineering consultant, SEH, to complete engineering of the infrastructure for the space. We're currently formulating our plan to set the containers. The city is working on programming the public spaces and creating events to draw people to the park. That's going to be integral. Hopefully we can get really good programming in place and get it set going. So we're working hard for late summer completion. I mean, that's really where we're at this point. It's not, we are working hard behind the scenes, having weekly meetings with containers up, and we're keeping this project going. We're anticipating, you'll see when you're driving through, you'll see work on the site in the next month. I would say next month and a half. You'll be seeing it changing here pretty soon. So I guess we'll start off with some vendor introductions. I want to invite vendors to come up and give a quick, probably 3 to 5 minutes about what they're passionate about, and really just a good time for everyone to get to know them. So first I want to invite Anna Lember with the Cooley Boutique. Thank you.
Hello. So I'm Anna Lember, formerly Anna Schroeder. I'm a 2002 graduate of Altoona High School, but I live in Galesville, Wisconsin, and I have a boutique, Cooley Boutique, in Galesville. So it's in the Cooley region. That's why it was named as it is. And I'm excited to bring it to Altoona. 6 years ago is when I started my business. I was a teacher at the time and was looking to do something different. So I started the business without a brick and mortar space. My very first opportunity was to do pop-ups here at River Prairie. So when Music in the Park started, I think it was roughly around that year, that was where I really got my start. Wednesday nights, I would pack up my kids and my husband sometimes, and I would come here. My parents are in the back, they still live in Altoona, and we would set up weekly on Wednesdays. And then the school year started again, and I kind of got back in the rhythm of work and got a brick and mortar space, and I was able to quit my job so that I could pursue my passion full time, which is, it's not necessarily clothing, but it's working with people in a different capacity. So what you'll see in the back, I have set up, it's just a sample of what we offer in our store. So Cooley Boutique in Galesville is a very large location. Container of 320 square feet is going to be much smaller, and a challenge, but an exciting challenge to be able to merchandise it so that it is exciting for people in the area to come in and shop. It offers clothing for sure, but then gifts, a last minute card, a present, a candle, whatever you need, but something in that location that is going to be memorable of Altoona as much as it is right now memorable of Galesville. So I'm trying to think, I'm just excited to come back home. My parents are both retired and are going to be a little bit forced into this business. Driving back and forth, so because I have 3 children, they are 14, 12, and 9, so I am very busy and attached to my life in Galesville. But my plan personally is to be open, probably not as much or as late as the restaurant, just because it is a different world, but try to match hours of that, nostalgic bean rums, and offer shoppable hours. It won't always be me that's there, but I've got fantastic staff right now in Galesville, and I know I can recreate something similar, or I don't want to say something. It'll be wonderful in Altoona as well. I have many connections to people in Altoona and Eau Claire. Again, being a former teacher, I have people, former students that go to Eau Claire that live in the area that are excited for me, and so I'm just excited to bring that here to back home. So that's it.
Next up, have Renee and Rhoda Perez with Mayonnaise Tacos, and they're Altoona based as well, and they make killer tacos. So.
Hi, Rhoda. This is Renee. We are the owners of Mayonnaise Tacos, and this is our 4th season going into it. Our 3rd year, we started in 2021. It's always been Renee's dream to always have a food truck and open a restaurant, so we're very excited. He's worked in the food industry for over 30 years now. A fun fact about him, he started out as a busboy and worked his way up into being a chef. And to the fact that one of his good friends asked him to open a restaurant with him back in Altoona, Minnesota, and that was 15 years ago. His Renee's guacamole is number 4 in Minnesota, and his queso is number 1. So if you haven't tried it, you should. I tell him I'd be right before the queso. And guac. Sometimes his avocados go missing. I don't know where they go. Another fun fact, we worked 2 jobs for 6 months to buy the food truck and our first pickup truck. And then we found it in Florida, and we took a weekend and drove down to Florida and came back. And it was adventurous, to say the least. Some of our important parts of our container part is that we want our employees to have good pay, PTO, and health insurance. We're family orientated. We have 3 sons and 1 daughter between us. Daughter's back there, wave her hand. She so graciously last year has taken over our scheduling and emailing because I can't, too tired. I'd rather just annoy him on the truck. So, and then all 3 of our sons has helped in the truck. I know Andrew goes to Altoona here, and he, the first 2 summers, was in the truck alongside you almost every day. So, and then I'm gonna let Renee talk a little bit about some of the food that we'll be offering that's a little bit different than some of the other Mexican restaurants here. They're all very lovely. We go to all of them all the time. So.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, we're gonna have some meats a little bit different than everybody else. We're gonna have cactus, Mexican cactus. If you guys never tried it before, it's really good. Chorizo al pastor is total meats that we make. We actually made it from scratch. All those things. Carnitas, ceviche. I think most people know ceviche. So we're gonna have that. Then we're gonna have some Mexican soups. That's what we have. So, thank you.
Thank you, Renee and Rhoda. Next up, I'm not sure, is Aiden here? Okay, Aiden isn't here. I wasn't sure if he snuck in or not. So, Aiden, was gonna be here in place of his parents for Iron Horse Saloon, but Iron Horse Saloon will be operated by Mark Anderson and his family, and they own the Golden Spike in downtown. So they've been with us for quite a while in downtown, and they've been with us in a lot of the steps of this project, and have been present and very helpful with helping us get our containers going. So next up, Xavier Yang with Oh Juicy.
Alright, my name is Xavier, owner and creator of Oh Juicy. We were here probably about 3 years ago on the west side in the old Seahorse Inn, local lounge, many other businesses that, you know, they're called now, but now it's Casa Margarita too. But yeah, we started out in Eau Claire, and we wanted to find a brick and mortar that was kind of within a decent budget. You know, what I was paying over there was astronomically high, and you know, I was young. I was 22, 23 when I started that, and I signed a lease without telling my parents, and they didn't know how much it was until about 6 months in. They were like, "That's how much we've been paying?" I said, "Yep, that's how much we've been paying." So, but hearing about the container park and finding out about, you know, being able to create a space that's affordable and easily accessible to any kinds of individuals that want to start businesses. That's what we really wanted to join the container park with. Currently, we're operating as a ghost kitchen inside Riverside Cafe, which is off of Water Street in the old Quick Walk building. That's where we do our mochi donuts and Korean corn dogs. My parents will be running the Oh Juicy shop in the container park, and we're looking to implement the donuts and the Korean corn dogs within the shop as well too. They're so popular right now, and the demand is so high, we barely could just handle it where we're at right now. So I think dividing it and putting it on both ends, I think it would do really well for the community of Altoona. The name Oh Juicy, you know, we fought back and forth about switching it and changing it so it will be in Altoona. But we have such a big following on social media, and so many people in the community know us as Oh Juicy, you know. And just recently, last year, my wife and I, we moved out to La Crosse, and we opened up a shop down there, right on downtown Main Street. So we call it Oh Juicy La Crosse. And a lot of folks there are like, that's kind of strange. And I said, we have a big following, and it was amazing because to see that we have, you know, folks from Arcadia and Independence that visited us in Eau Claire, though they came all the way down to La Crosse and joined us too. So we didn't want to change that, and I spoke with my parents about it and said, hey, you know, we're going to keep it the same. If you guys want a new name, we can, but from a business perspective, it just made sense to kind of keep it the same. That way we kept all of our followers in the loop. But we'll be serving our regular Cajun seafood. We're going to have a lot more options. So, you know, we got some good vendors for lobster tails. We got some good vendors for king crab legs. We're going to get a bunch of different kinds of, you know, ahi tuna. We're going to get a bunch of different kinds of seafood that, you know, you don't see around here. And they're going to be as fresh as they can get, and just mixed with our Cajun sauce. So we're super excited. We've always been great, you know, keeping us in the loop. We know it's been a while. It's been a long while since we did the presentation to kind of get chosen to be into the container park. But you know, we're excited, and yeah, we're ready to kind of serve the community and show Altoona that you know, we're ready to have fun and grow. You know, I think Altoona is amazing just with the River Prairie and stuff. I think we're catching up to Eau Claire. I think we're going to be better than Eau Claire. I love Eau Claire, but honestly, it's so beautiful, River Prairie and what they've done compared to Phoenix Park. But we love both. You know, my wife and I, we live on the East Hill side, so, but we're over here all the time. But yeah, we're super excited. My dad is here with me, right over there. So, and then my wife here. So yeah, we're just excited, and I'm glad for anyone and everyone that came out. We have a bunch of samples left, so come in and grab seconds, thirds, fourths, whatever. Just clear us out because we're not looking to bring any back home tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. I wish you would have mentioned that the donuts are coming to downtown. That's gonna be dangerous. So, last but not least, we have Evan Mowry with East and Benito.
Hey there. So I'm Evan. I've been a nominal Eau Claire resident all my life, pretty much. My parents moved here when I was 3, so my dad could start teaching at UWBC. So we've lived outside of Rock Falls since then. My parents still do. I left for school in 2004, came back in 2009. Or I'm sorry, and I left in 2004 for school and moved to the cities. And as soon as I got to the cities, I realized that the international relations degree wasn't doing me any favors, and I didn't want to work for the Foreign Service or teach international relations. So I started applying to every job I could find, temped for longer than I cared to think about, and finally got a dishwashing job at Blue Collar Paper. And 5 years later, I was running my kitchen and moved on from that to work my way through quite a lot of different restaurants. I worked in multiple brew pubs, I worked like French bistro, I worked traditional European, ramen for many years, fine dining, food trucks, burgers, breakfast. And I really settled on having experienced all of that from the back of house perspective, not just as a diner. I really settled on East Asian food. It's what I love. It's what I really, it's all I cook at home. I never cook white people food anymore. So making kimchi is, and ramen is kind of my jam. And there are limited opportunities to do that. Certainly, if you're looking to support yourself as an adult in this area, or really anywhere. Cooking's not exactly the most financially lucrative option as a career, but the pandemic really put things into perspective. A lot of restaurants fell flat on their butts, and a lot of restaurants trimmed way down and saw their margins improve somehow. So that really got me thinking, and I've always liked smaller places that have, less staff, it's more focused, and it really got me looking for a place where I could minimize rent, minimize overhead, and just really focus on doing what I like, which is cooking. So that's in large part why I applied to be one of the restaurants for the Altoona container park. And I'm extremely excited that I accepted. I was kind of flattering, not flattering, treading water, I guess. And yeah, so that's the idea, is to keep a very focused, small menu, be as seasonal as I can, with like local produce and local suppliers, and to kind of have the freedom that I would not normally have in someone else's restaurant, where it's like I currently work at Turkey, and there's a lot of freedom because I run the ramen program there, so I do get to do specials, but I can't really do specials outside of Japanese cuisine. And Japanese cuisine is just one thing that I like more. So having the freedom to do that, having the freedom to highlight local producers and local suppliers, go to the farmer's market and just go nuts, or talk to a farm that grows pigs and order a bunch of product from them and just go nuts. It's something I really want to do and looking forward to. And then the other thing is that over the past couple of years, I've noticed that generally in my income bracket, wages have stagnated, and restaurant costs keep going up. I'm sure you guys have noticed that as well. And I really don't like the idea of everyday people getting priced out of good food, and interesting food, just because they're getting left behind, because it's happening to me. So I'd like to really prove that the kind of like food stall business model can work well and can add to a community by keeping the money in the community as much as possible, and also providing good, healthy, interesting, creative food for people who normally would really think twice about going out for dinner because they have to budget. That sucks. I mean, obviously budgeting sucks, but yeah, that's my big push. that's why I'm really excited to do this. And also, just like you guys, I've got a lot of Mambo tofu. So if you want seconds, if you want to take some home, I can absolutely give them to your family or have a friend try it. Absolutely. Because I don't want to take it home. All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Evan, and thank you to all the vendors. Let's give them another round of applause. So as you can tell, we have a really passionate group of vendors coming in. We're very lucky to work with them, very thankful to be able to work with them. And you know, this really is, again, I said in the beginning, it's a labor of love. It takes a lot of different partners to make this happen, a lot of different organizations who have contributed to this project with us. So we're very thankful for the community involvement in this project. With that, I want to ask if there's any questions, and if not, thank you and enjoy. So I guess if anyone has any questions, please ask away.